if the county, specifically the Historical Heritage Commission that we both serve on, could figure out a way to recognize the cultural aspects, the cultural improvements, enhancements, things like which your organization has accomplished. How can we do that? I mean, I was thinking about talking our supervisors into putting a plaque, at the corner of King and Story.
You know what? You're not the first person to bring that up.
Okay.
Peter Ortiz, District 5, has been talking about that as well. He's like, can we make that happen, you think? And I says, I don't see why not. LA's got Whittier Boulevard, and they got the big bridge, monument over that.
Yeah.
The only thing that's bad about King and Story, that the cruising element, I mean, it's historical, but the cruising element has changed there. And I don't know if you're familiar with the way it looked like before, but the way the new design, the way the layout is, the beautiful part about King and Story before, you could be on one side of the street and see the whole parking lot on the other side, and you could see the other parking lot. And now the way they built the buildings, it's kind of, you can't see any of the parking lots beside the gas station, So, but it's still historical.
It is. I mean, that seems to me from my 10,000
100%. 100%. I mean, that's...
What else? What else might we do to recognize what you guys have achieved and accomplished in this county?
Well, you know what? I mean, we had Lowrider Magazine was originated here. We had Sonny Madrid. We have Street Low Magazine with Gilbert. San Jose was the first to publicize lowriding, from what I've been told. There's people that argue from LA, but Lowrider Magazine did help get lowriding on the map even bigger, and San Jose was a big part of that. There's a lot of I would say different opinions on how Lowrider Magazine was started, who gets the credit.
Yeah.
And I know the Madrids personally.
Whether they started it or not, they played a role in what's
Yeah. So
if the county, specifically the Historical Heritage Commission that we both serve on, could figure out a way to recognize the cultural aspects, the cultural improvements, enhancements, things like which your organization has accomplished. How can we do that? I mean, I was thinking about talking our supervisors into putting a plaque, at the corner of King and Story.
You know what? You're not the first person to bring that up.
Okay.
Peter Ortiz, District 5, has been talking about that as well. He's like, can we make that happen, you think? And I says, I don't see why not. LA's got Whittier Boulevard, and they got the big bridge, monument over that.
Yeah.
The only thing that's bad about King and Story, that the cruising element, I mean, it's historical, but the cruising element has changed there. And I don't know if you're familiar with the way it looked like before, but the way the new design, the way the layout is, the beautiful part about King and Story before, you could be on one side of the street and see the whole parking lot on the other side, and you could see the other parking lot. And now the way they built the buildings, it's kind of, you can't see any of the parking lots beside the gas station, I mean, we had Lowrider Magazine was originated here. We had Sonny Madrid. We have Street Low Magazine with Gilbert. San Jose was the first to publicize lowriding, from what I've been told. There's people that argue from LA, but Lowrider Magazine did help get lowriding on the map even bigger, and San Jose was a big part of that. There's a lot of I would say different opinions on how Lowrider Magazine was started, who gets the credit.
Yeah.
And I know the Madrids personally.
Whether they started it or not, they played a role in what's
Yeah.
Lowrider Magazine was a shiny, beautiful magazine based in LA. In other words, but it got launched here.
We need to create a timeline
Yeah,
of all the accomplishments of San Jose lowriding,
that's a fantastic idea.
you know, and document that. So we're actually going to be working on that. And we have a guy, Ricardo Cortez, who he works at Santa Clara University, and he's on our board. So I'm going to be getting him kind of tied in on that. So, yeah, as far as recognizing, you know, I mean, King of Story is big. You know, that's pretty iconic. That would be one. I think people would love that. I mean, I don't even know if that's even possible.
If people weren't, I'm just thinking of more, because when you start talking about remembrance, there's 20 things you can do.
Yeah.
Story King is definitely number one. Possibly 13th Street where it started. But I was going to ask, what other places were a big deal? So if you weren't cruising at Story and King, where were you cruising? I mean, where's the other place?
For us, it's Santa Clara Street.
Right,
Santa
up
Clara
and down?
Street, well, they're on 19, the Dog, Roosevelt neighborhood, the Wiener Dog right there. A lot of people hang out there on a regular. But it depends how old you are, right? I mean,
Yeah.
my dad used to tell me they used to cruise First Street all the time. That was
When I was in high school, that was the place we'd go. We'd come all the way from South San Jose to cruise First Street, down First, up Second.
yeah, right. And
If
then
you caught a race, you go on the freeway or something.
yeah, and then you know, from when I was cruising, we'd cruise King of Story, and then when the cops started shutting down, we'd stay on Santa Clara Street. Santa Clara turns into Alameda, Alameda turns into El Camino,
Oh yeah.
and we'd go cruise El
Yeah.
Camino, and then come back. This one gas was a lot cheaper. And come back, and the cops, we'd figure out the ways to still cruise Santa Clara and end up on King of Story somehow. We knew all the back roads. Nobody was smarter than us back then. You know, we'd squeeze in, we'd go home at 2 o'clock in the morning and burn through a tank of gas.
In the days, in the 70s. It's complicated, but basically, you know.
La Raza Park, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Gangs and, you know, out of control, all these problems. So the county sheriff and cops, they made a deal with the lowriders and the Chicano, Black Berets, you know, the more radical activists. They said, look, because they would say, well, we have no place to go. You know, there's no place where we can go.
Yeah,
we can't go to ordinary parks. People run and get scared. And so the sheriff and the cops gave them, they used to go hang at Hellier Park, you know,
Sure. I
one
know
on
where
another.
that is, yeah.
And so they gave them for a time that they could do their thing over there, and they would self-police. The cops and the probation would be around, but they wouldn't go around directly. And so for a while there was this little thing, he called it La Raza Park.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will remember that. That went on for a year or two, I don't know how long, but
when you said Hellier, I was thinking Hillview.
yeah.
So,
yeah, Hellier.
but Hellier, yeah, and I didn't even know it as La Raza Park.
Yeah.
But actually, it's very small, and it's not very well kept up anymore. But a lot of guys that are like in their 60s all talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, like late 50s to 60s, guys talk about, oh, I remember La Raza Park. That
And this
was
stuff's,
the thing.
as we go,
Yeah.
it's all written. It's been written about. There's a professor at Evergreen, Arturo Villarreal. He wrote a whole master's degree on this
I'll be
topic.
darned.
And then Louis Rocha, you know, lowrider Louis from KKUP Radio. You ever listen to KKUP on Saturday?
yeah.
Anyway, Louis Rocha, he also has written his college master's degree or something about this. So I have the documents. But there's a lot. There's just a lot there.
I recommend you guys, if you ever get an opportunity to see American Homeboy. It's a documentary. It just came out recently. It was viewed in San Jose recently. And
Who did that?
Maxwell. I could find out.
Oh, okay.
Maxwell something. And John Ulloa. You know who John Ulloa?
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah. And a couple other guys that are involved in that. And it talks about the subcultures that have spun off from Chicano culture, you know, or actually from just Mexicans in general and our indigenous people, how it's just gone. So
It's real easy to give an award or recognize someone who did a stellar job preserving an old building, but it's much more challenging to recognize cultural advancements, and that's what, you know, personally, and I think Ramon's on the same page. We need to do a better job doing that. So
I'll give you an example. We did a radio show with Jimmy Hernandez, the KKUP, and people were calling in because we had female lowriders there with the Lowrider Council. We had a filmmaker, and some lady calls in and she goes, you know, hey, my grandson wants to get involved in lowriding. So my question to you guys is, does he have to join a gang? So this is asked to us off the air.
that's probably something I would have asked. You know?
So at first, everybody in the group, there was like 8 of us, and we were like, "What the heck?" You know. But then the movie guy, the director, is Daniel Osorio or something. I can't remember his last name. But he says, "Hold on, guys, hold on. Think about this. What does the public know about lowriding? What they see on TV.
Yep.
What they see on TV." Starts going down the list of all the movies out there that have lowriders in it, and what they're about, and how the lowrider is portrayed in those movies,
Right.
and it's all in a negative way.
You don't see them raising money for positive things in the community.
Yeah. So even they do, and you remember that movie McFarlane, the running movie. It's about the Mexican kids running and the coach and all that, and they're from the fields and they're working every day. And in McFarland, they show the lowriders out there. If I'm right, they're doing a car wash.
Good.
You know what I mean? Or they're participating in a car wash to help raise money, and all the lowriders are there. And then they have a quinceañera for the white daughter of the coach, right? So it's a positive event, right? They're gonna escort this girl, make this special quinceañera for her, which she knew nothing about it. They take a cruise, so they show all the cars are, low riding. It's all great. Well, how does it end? Another rival gang comes across, another lowrider. They get in a fight. Guy gets stabbed. The girl's got blood on her shirt. So as great as a movie that was, it spun it in.
And that's the part people will remember.
Exactly.
Probably. Yeah.
So that's part of our thing is, we wanted to expose the positive side of lowriding, and like I said, this is like, it's not like since we organized, all of a sudden we started doing good things. That stuff's been happening for decades. Yeah. It's always been that way. Yeah. I mean, I know guys that were lowriding back in the 90s in San Jose parades, Cinco de Mayo parades. And when they were asked to be in a parade, and they're in the parade, and as they're pulling out of the parade, they're getting their cars pulled over by the cops and weighed and ticketed and towed after participating in a city event. Mm-hmm. And that's nothing against that active cops that are here now, but that did happen. That did happen. And now we're working with the car. I don't know if you heard about that. So we have recently just acquired a San Jose retired police car that we're going to turn into a lowrider. So San Jose, hopefully here by next year, we'll be finished with it. So that's something that's happening right now. That's just a little of us trying to work with them and have that dialogue but I have learned that there's City of San Jose, there's PD, and we're like right in the middle.
Well, Raul Peralez, who was the city council member for 8 years, he was a street cop.
Yeah.
And
he still is now.
Yeah, no,
we had an event at Montalvo Arts Center.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
And I'm on their mailing list. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, we had entertainment, we had folklorial dancing, we had panelists in the theater, and that was like, I had, it was like, I didn't know, when she called me, I kind of just, I can't believe, I
I applaud her for calling you. That's
I go,
Who put it on?
gosh, Local Color was with us. The Montalvo Arts and all the board members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they put it on, and they handled
I'll chase
everything.
it down a little bit.
Yeah, and
That's where the money is.
and
Let's get us there too.
so I was like, how is this gonna work? You know, I'm like, you guys want us up there? Are you serious? And it worked out. I mean, I had my doubts, and you've seen all different walks of life enjoying this lowrider culture together, and not just our culture, right? I mean, it's everything, the music, everything. And you know, I had people come up to me I never met before, and they just said, you know, I came up here pretty much just to see what was going to happen, because I didn't really think this was going to work. And this
Predominantly white visitors?
No.
Really?
That was the best part.
Good.
It was everything.
Cool.
And this guy goes, but you guys proved me wrong. He's like, this is amazing. You guys knocked it out of the park. And I'm like, this is only our first one. Now, it wasn't the event or wasn't even done yet, and they're already telling me we're going to do this again.
Excellent.
You know, so I'm just saying we've gone from, you know, not being accepted to a lot of places to we're at Montalvo. I mean, we drove 70 lowriders through the neighborhood to get up there. You know,
There's some people, some little old lady looking out her window going, what the heck?
you know, City San Jose's been great. San Jose PD's been great with us, and that's what we wanted, to build those relationships. You know, and you know, we still struggle. We're not perfect. You know, we got guys that blow it. You know, we still have the same issue of certain individuals coming to our events that they have no investment in the lowrider community besides showing up and causing problems. And you know, but I always go back to go to a country concert. Mm-hmm. How many fights are at a country concert? Right? How much alcohol is sold at the country concert?
How about a football game?
And an NFL game. Right?
Sometimes I'll be in bed, my wife's asleep, and I'll just be, you know, scrolling through Facebook and stuff. You see these knuckleheads beating the crap out of each other at football games.
Yeah, and then the players are shaking hands on the field. So my point being is, we don't stop having NFL games.
Yeah.
We don't stop having country concerts.
That's a good analogy.
You know, where because we have lowrider events, that sometimes something might happen. Do we have to choke that down now and say you can't do that?
It sounds like the overall trend, though, is becoming very positive and very accepting.
Yeah, and you know, we got high schools calling us, middle schools. But to be honest, we're like overwhelmed a little bit with all the, and it's tough to answer every email and do this, you know. But
what was the event that was publicized a couple months ago?
Well, that was San Jose Lowrider Day, maybe.
What was did that?
But that was on September 1st.
Was
in front of City Hall.
Okay.
September 1st. So there's we got recognized at the federal level, state, county, and city level, recognizing San Jose Lowrider Day for the last week of August, whether it ends up on the 1st, something. I've got it written. I've got the awards at my house, or the all those plaques that they gave us. Okay. So I'll be honest, I knew the city was going to do it, but I didn't know that I was going to have something signed by Leon Pineda. I was like kind of blown away. You know, and also, you know, Cindy Chavez was there, and, you know, Dave Cortese, we got recognized assembly level.
I figured as much.
Well,
those are all good people. You know?
Well, the other thing that happened out of our repeal was National City tried to do it, and it was failing. They tried an experiment over there, and then we got it on the docket first. Sacramento saw that. They organized they pushed to get theirs done before us, right?
Yeah. Once something like that gets popular,
Yeah.
everybody wants a piece.
Right.
Of
So what ended up happening is we have since the repeals that started happening, that created what we call the California Lowrider Alliance, which is I'm part of, represents San Jose. So California Lowrider Alliance is from as far north as Santa Rosa all the way down to National City. Inland Empire, East LA, all the lowrider communities and lowrider councils, we've all organized together. So that's why we've got this thing called the AB 436, which is sitting on the governor's desk right now. And AB 436 is to repeal no cruising bans throughout the state of California by one signing of the pen. So Sacramento has a lot of people with state experience, lawyers and legislative people. So in their lowrider council, they actually wrote the bill, helped write the bill for David Alvarez and Luce Rivas, and that language was written by lowriders.
Who are they?
The Sacramento Lowrider
The
Commission.
Rivas?
David Alvarez, assembly member, and they're from they're down south.
Oh, and
Luce Rivas, she's from like Orange County or
Oh,
something like that.
Excuse
So, but we're all connected through the lowrider, California Lowrider. To be honest, everybody expects them to do what they did. That's nothing new.
yeah.
What we as a lowrider community had an issue with was we had guys getting tickets being parked. We had guys getting tickets for no license plate light. And when they were getting pulled over, they were getting pulled over with 2 cops. You know, it was excessive. I drove down from Santa Clara Street all the way from 4th Street all the way down to like 30th, and there was people pulled over every block.
And you're talking about recently.
Yeah, this is last year, yeah. So before they let us have your fill, and then they'd let you go, right? And it was great. It was an understanding. We all knew, but a lot of times, a lot of the lowriders don't even come out on Cinco because of that. And there's a group of guys that have put on a show at Hillview Park just to take everybody away from downtown because they don't want to be part of the non-locals showing up, and they're not what we consider lowriders, right? My whole point to this is that my conversation with San Jose PD and the city is you got this big, group of people that there's nowhere to go to celebrate. There's not a place. There is not a place to go and do what we want to do, right? But I understand the history of San Jose. At one time, San Jose I grew up downtown, so it was the mecca of Cinco de Mayos, right? And then it got to an ugly head in the 90s, and the riots, and it was bad, and it was by all rights had to stop, right?
Yeah, or change.
But I mean, how long do you have to serve the prison term? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing that motivated me about doing the Lowrider Council was I went to the office, Cultural Affairs office, when I went through and I started reading the list of like events requested and what was accepted, what was denied. It's in green and in red, right? And looking down the list, and it's like every culture's got green stamps. And anything that had to do with Cinco de Mayo, red stamp. Like people were trying to do events and had proposed ideas, and they were getting shot down. And I don't know who controls that, but I remember seeing that, and that really hit hard with me. I was like, it's like not even like this is something you could go online and see, but getting back to the point of nowhere to go. Kind of going back to La Raza Park.
Well, it's still the same.
there.
Yeah, it's still the same.
You can say the same thing about the guys that I don't agree with them because we get tagged with them, the sideshow guys.
Yeah.
People associate us with that, and that's far from the truth, right? They got nowhere to go. We got what we call the trucks, the Mexican trucks. There's other terms, slang terms out there that I won't say on camera,
right.
But they're the guys from Mexico, predominant. They're not really lowriders. It's their own little scene, the troquitas. You know what I mean? And those guys, they They like to have fun and burn rubber and stuff like that, and we don't like that because this guy's got a $50,000, $20,000 paint job, and this guy's burning rubber next to him with rocks flying, and he could care less about his paint job, maybe, but I care about mine, or some of these other guys, right? So we don't like to. That's why a lot of those trucks will show up on Seco and we'll go somewhere else. So I guess what I'm getting at is, there's got to be somewhere we have to create, or is there an empty lot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The common denominator is every group wants a place to go.
Guys want to gather. That's part of it, and it, and if you try to do anything, it's hard to find a property that's like cool with cars being there,
Listen, I got to run. I got to jump on a Zoom call pretty soon.
Yeah, no.
But thank you,
I'm
David.
sorry I could talk a lot.
No, I appreciate your enthusiasm. So, like I said, I just saw the news piece about the lowriders, and I thought this is a great example of how we can, as a historical commission, try to do something with respect to recognizing cultural advancements. And I think you guys could be a poster child for that. The other thing I want to mention too, I might have mentioned in my email, is I chair this organization called the Historical Preservation Alliance, and we do an awards night every May in honor of National Historical Month. And I'll probably be reaching out to you at some point, because I think our board will be interested in recognizing your group specifically for that occasion. So,
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
No. So
keep up the good work.
No. It's a living thing.
Yeah.
it just keeps going.
I just appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the opportunity to learn something new about the city I grew up in, and get out of my own little box, like you said.
Yeah.